All right, Kevin Harvell here with STLTechTalk. Here we're doing the wrap-up conversation with Kevin, one of the organizers and founders of the St. Louis Days of .NET conference. This is the year 2013, so they've been doing this for 6 years, wrapping it up, and it's grown and it's just been a big boost to the community. So Kevin, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about everything with the conference and what you experienced over the last couple of days.
Sure. My name is Kevin Grossnicklaus, as he said. I've been involved with this conference as an organizer since its first year, 6 years ago now. We had 200 people that first year, and at that time we were shocked and awed that 200 people would come to an event. It was one day. This weekend we had 1,000 people. It's grown over those 6 years. We've been here at the Ameristar for the last five consecutive years. The weekends, we spend a significant portion of our year planning for this and doing things that we don't generally do in our day job. We all run this on the side as organizers. This is not our full-time job until the weeks prior to the conference, and then it seems to become our full-time job. And then when we are wrapping it up now, and we couldn't be more thrilled with what happened this year. It wasn't without its warts, but they were minor, and the feedback that we've heard thus far has been nothing but positive. 1,000 attendees, 47 sponsored tables. There's been a lot of great networking, a lot of information shared between people who wouldn't otherwise know each other, who wouldn't otherwise get the opportunity to connect. So we're very excited to make those connections and be a venue where people can come together once a year and help grow our community, not only to learn as individuals, but just to broaden their horizons and know who's in town, what companies are there, what are people doing, what technologies are being adopted, who's new.
Is definitely a huge aspect of people getting to make that physical connection with people that they meet on Twitter. I mean, I know somebody getting somewhat new into the tech scene, and I've met a lot of people on Twitter and other sources of social media. And I met them that way before I met them here, so it's really nice to actually put a physical handshake with that that Twitter icon. I mean, yeah, you communicate with them, but it's not the same. It's not the personal connection. Being able to have lunch with Rich Dunbar and Daniel Gary yesterday, that was just, I mean, how often would I have that opportunity to be able to do something like that? I mean, two pretty big people in their respective areas.
Yes.
Especially Rich, my goodness, gosh, he's got a big position.
I see that a lot. I see a lot of starstruck attendees every now and then when we get specific speakers and people that are notable for their expertise in an area, and we get the opportunity to bring them to town. And there's a lot of attendees would pass and we'll stop and grab someone and say, I just wanted to meet you and shake your hand. And I've read your blog for so many years, and I want to introduce myself. And to us, that's one of the biggest, to me, and I know to the other organizers, that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing that we're proud of in this event. We get great speakers that travel from all over the world. We've got a lot from Europe that we look up to, that we consider experts, and they fly to St. Louis once a year, and they share their knowledge, and they shake hands with our attendees, and they go to lunch with them. The social aspects of this event, we put a lot of pride in the attendee party, the kickoff party, getting people a chance to get away from technology and just sit down and have a drink and a snack and meet some people they might look up to, or this is a small town in St. Louis. It's not the east or west coast, so this is, in a lot of cases, is like a reunion. There's a lot of my co-workers from prior positions and people that I've worked with in some capacity. I get to see them here every year, and we shake hands and we catch up. And it's like no time has passed.
I know, it's like you've known each other. I mean, it's kind of like cousins. Whenever you only see each other at holidays.
Yep.
But it's like you're together all the time.
Yep.
On a daily basis. It's like a brotherhood, you would say.
Yes.
So it's really this is my first time coming to a Days of .NET conference, and I have no development background, so. And I see all these people, and JJ's like, oh my gosh, you realize who that is, right? That you were just talking to him, like, yeah, it's so and so. And he's like, no, really? Do you know who it is that you're talking to right now? So I mean, I don't have that starstruck feeling, but that's one of the nice things I like about the people that came and spoke. They're so approachable and warm. You didn't feel like you were getting the I'm talking to you, but I'd rather be somewhere else.
And you do see that at some of the larger conferences, and that's what we try to bring to this region. 6 years ago when we started this event, it was really, we had no, in our wildest dreams, thought it would come to where it is today. But one of the things we wanted to do was have that conference. We wanted to build something that at some level had that conference feel. Some developers here in town do get the opportunity to travel to the bigger events around the country, and those bigger events have, some of the same speakers and some of the more higher end speakers that we don't get. Sometimes at those big events, you pay a lot of money, you invest a lot of time and expense in traveling, and you get in that environment and you're in awe, but those speakers don't sometimes come out and be that approachable.
Mm-hmm.
You go there, you see them during their presentation, you might see them in passing, but the event of that size, they don't have that networking aspect where you can just go shake a hand. It's becoming more and more that you do get that opportunity, because these speakers, the speakers that do shake the hands and go out and talk to people and share their knowledge in a hallway as much as they do in a presentation, have grown to be the speakers everybody wants, us included. And the guys that aren't as approachable, or the gals, tend to get less of the speaking slots as it comes forward. So we want to be that we want to be in this area. We want to give our local attendees that feeling of, I went to a big time conference and I got value in any number of areas. I learned, I networked, I met people, got some guidance, and I shook some hands, and it was a great weekend. So.
Right. I mean, I know, if you're not familiar with the industry, you look at or you're not familiar with conferences in general, and you see, the price, to come to this conference, you might be like, oh wow, but I really feel you do get a lot of value for that amount, that entry price. Just a couple sessions that I was able to pop into and take a look at. It's like, wow, it was just a lot of things, taking pictures and stuff. It's like, there's some really good stuff going on here. And like you said, the people that you're having the opportunity to meet, we interviewed Dave McCarter, and we were telling him, it's just going to be 15, 20 minutes. That's all we need. He sat in here for just over an hour. I mean, and it was great. It was like, wow, it was just amazing. So
yes.
And I definitely he's from San Diego, so
yes, we got
an MVP, and it was an amazing experience for me, somebody new to the industry and trying to do what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I, definitely, what is it that you can see with the conference that, I know you're still trying to, you're ready to wring out the sponge out with 13 and with 14. What kind of things would you like to see? I know you guys sold out, 1,000 registrations for attendees. That's a lot of people, and I'm not saying the place was, crowded where everybody's shoulder to shoulder, but do you see possibly repeating the location again?
Yes, we've been here at the Ameristar for 5 years. We couldn't be happier. Regardless of what type of conference you're hosting, I think the venue goes a long way to kind of setting the vibe of the conference. Our venue is a casino. We have our social events at the nightclubs and the Bottleneck Blues Bar here. I think that it gives it a little bit of that Vegas type conference feel. A lot of the bigger conferences are in Vegas, so people that have been to those, they relate us similar to that environment. This venue and the layout of where we actually have our technical sessions and the logistics of us feeding 1,000 people, our biggest expense by far is feeding. Yeah. We spend 80% roughly of our money on food that is all catered. The Ameristar does a great job, and it's great food, but the venue as it stands today, we're not sure could physically hold more than 1,000 people. So for 2014, as we look forward to upcoming years, what can we do better? We want to every year reevaluate how could we provide more value, make it better for attendees, add more value to sponsors. Our plan at this point is to continue to innovate there and not really grow the number of people, because physically I don't know that we could. I think that if we added another 100, we would detract from the overall experience by making it.
That's true. You definitely want to make it, and it makes it a hot ticket item. So well, there's only so many. So you definitely, what's the big fuss? Oh, I need to find out. I need to go to find out what that is.
And we have a lot of what we would consider our peers. Some of them are here as speakers, but there's other conferences in the Midwest and in the region that do what we do. Mm-hmm. We share a lot of knowledge with their organizers. We've all become great friends. We learn a lot, and we go to their conferences as presenters. They take care of us. They come here as presenters, and we share that body of knowledge that is unique to the type of people that do this type of event. One of our kind of sister or a conference that's in a similar space is Code Mash. It's coming up in Sandusky, Ohio in January. They're a conference that we look up to. We learn a lot from how they do it. They sell out their entire conference, 1,000+ tickets in 6 minutes or less.
Goodness.
So
it's like an Apple event.
It is. They are
Wow.
extremely. I bring that up in response to your saying we want to be that premium hot ticket in our region. We want people to know there's limited capacity and and it's a great value. So get the tickets early and make sure you got a seat on the bus when the conference comes. And I don't know that we can do that without putting a reasonable cap and just continuing to get great speakers. People ultimately pay to come see the speakers. They don't come pay to see me. I just keep the lights on and keep the food.
Make sure things running smooth.
Yes.
So, as big an event as this is, I would have to say, just from walking around, checking things out, I think it went very, very smooth. I was very impressed. I mean, for that many people, in a location like this, I think Ameristar did really good. The facilities was kept clean. They were on top of things. I didn't really see.
Yes, we laugh and we say, there's little warts and things we wish we'd have done better, and some things we overlooked at the last minute. That's because our group of organizers, we're stressing about it. We're thinking about things that other people might not. So when there is a bump in the road, it's probably unnoticeable to anyone else, but we noticed it.
Yeah,
and, I know. At the end of the day, I think all attendees came and had a great time.
Right.
Hopefully got more value, much more value than what they ultimately had to pay or their companies paid for them to be.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking for the 2014 page to pop up.
We will be announcing very shortly the dates of 2014. That's a first for us. Usually we do not announce the dates until 3 or 4 months out. This year we've already negotiated, and we will announce that probably in the coming weeks with a thank you email to all attendees and some information on what will come along next year.
Yeah, I believe previously talking with Scott, he mentioned that November is not the traditional time frame.
It may continue to be, but we traditionally have had our conference in the August time frame. So late summer, people can bring their kids. It was easier for some people to travel out out of town or from out of town here if it was in the summer break for their students. Unfortunately, a lot of our competitors, not competitors, but our similar conferences are in that range as well. So what we find is we're kind of a traveling brotherhood of speakers. So the speakers, and I speak at a lot of these conferences. I gave an 8-hour pre-compiler on Thursday here and then gave 3 talks. So, and many of the other speakers gave multiple talks.
And you still have a voice.
I still have a voice. That's amazing.
That's impressive.
Every year I think I shouldn't talk this much when I'm trying to organize, but those speakers and myself included, I gave a lot of talks at those conferences in July and August. So even if we weren't on the same weekend, it's an awful lot to ask a speaker to travel out of town. Our speakers volunteer their time. We do offer some T&E or travel and expense reimbursement for them, but we realize that comes nowhere close to cover the actual cost that it costs them to come here.
Right.
So some do it as part of the business they're in. Some do it because they just love to share their knowledge, and we're respectful of all of them. And it's hard for us to ask them to stay away from home for a month and hit all these conferences.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know like Scott's getting ready to fly to Redmond tomorrow.
I'm on the same plane.
So you're going with him tomorrow. And I know other people that we talk to, they're heading out there, same thing. It's like, wow, it's just so much at one time.
I'm staying here at the hotel. I moved in here Wednesday, stayed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll stay tonight, and then me and Scott are on a 9 a.m. flight to Seattle, and then we'll fly back here Thursday night.
Wow.
Next week. So heading back up to Redmond to Microsoft for their second MVP summit for Microsoft MVPs. And when we scheduled Day of .NET, we unfortunately didn't know at that time that this particular event would be the week after. And not only did it affect Scott and myself, but many of our speakers are recognized as MVPs by Microsoft. So a lot of us are shuttling to the airport tomorrow, which that says a lot. I'm very, very thankful. We thought that would cause us some problems, and we wouldn't be able to get the speakers that we wanted to get because they would opt not to come here instead.
Choose that as, well, okay, I can only get so much time away, and I'm going to choose that as my focus.
So these guys literally, they went through the hassle to book a flight to St. Louis to stay here for 3 nights or 2 nights, and then to book a flight to Seattle and then back to their hometown.
Right.
And that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, that's saying a lot for the community, the people that you've attracted to come speak here. So, again, that's where friendships and the community, the tightness comes into play. That's good. So, Kevin, I mean, thank you for your time. I know you've got
Thank you for coming.
A lot of winding down. We've greatly appreciated, both JJ and myself, having the opportunity to speak with people and, the accommodations you've made on very short notice. And I know next year.
Yeah, next year we love any exposure we can get. And anything we can do to, one thing we always think of every year is You asked where we can improve. We just want to get the word out about what
Right, and
we
that's
feel. We got a great attendee pool, and next year we can reach out to all the attendees that came this year, and we'd like to think that, you know, we've done the things the right way and that they'll consider coming back, and we've continued to grow, so that's been the case. But we wonder if there's people out there that, in the region, that would benefit that just don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we found out. We had a guest on, you know, our regular weekly show, Andy Long, who's also working on our Windows app for our website, and he was on a few weeks ago and he told us about it. And we're like, okay, yeah, let's check it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, you know, I don't have any development background, so, but it was still, I mean, I know I learned a lot just from sitting and listening to the interviews and what the, you know, the speakers and stuff were saying, making the contacts, and I know I can reach out to them after things slow down. Say, hey, I'm working on this little project, you know, can you help me out? And so they were all, like I said, it was a great experience.
I mean, I had a lot of attendees just ask my opinion of St. Louis, you know, not specific to this conference, but as a technology scene, as a hotspot for IT and entrepreneurs. And I think, I mean, there's other conferences here in town. There's a vibrant community that's growing. You know, we're not San Francisco, we're not Silicon Valley, but there's a lot going on right now, and we're moving in an upward trajectory.
So. Right. I mean, I know Kansas City, you know, just to the west of us, it's a pretty hopping tech area. And St. Louis, I think it's starting to spread. And that's what's nice. It's not all focused on the coast. And and we're a great area. I mean, you're this close to Kansas City, you're this close to Chicago, Memphis, you know, Austin, Texas, and Dallas, and all that. You're comfortably close, where it's not too big of a thing to get to those locations.
So that's what I like about doing this conference. We grow the community, make us tighter, hopefully help that aspect of the region out by making some connections and helping people, you know who's who and what's what, and to keep the upward trajectory of our technology community going. So
it's huge. So again, Kevin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you for being here and helping us out, giving us some visibility.
So again, you know, it's Kevin Hartwell from STLTechTalk.com. This was the St. Louis Days of .NET Conference 2013, and that is a wrap.